Welcome to another episode of Unwiring Tech. I am your host Ranjana. In a significant development, the Indian government notified the Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code rules in 2021. These rules have far reaching implications for social media platforms and over the top content providers. Let's dive into the details. Back in 2018, the Supreme Court of India highlighted the need for guidelines to combat issues such as prevalence of child pornography and content depicting sexual violence. The widespread fake news, misuse of social media, content regulation, in the case of online publishers including OTT platforms and news portals, lack of transparency and accountability from digital platforms, and rights of users of digital media platforms made government interventions necessary. In 2020, an ad hoc committee of the Rajya Sabha, the upper house of parliament, conducted a study on the alarming issue of pornography on social media and its impact on children and society. This committee recommended measures to identify the originators of such content. All this set the stage for the government's intervention, and then the government came out with 2021 rules. The rules categorized social media intermediaries into two types based on their user base. These are social media intermediaries and significant social media intermediaries, that is SSMI. Significant social media intermediaries are when they cross a certain threshold of user base. The rules required intermediaries to follow due diligence. Failure to do so will result in the loss of safe harbor under Section 79 of the IT Act, which protects them from legal prosecution for content posted on their platforms. Significant social media intermediaries must appoint a chief compliance officer for ensuring compliance with the rules and the Act, a nodal person for coordination with law enforcement agency, and a grievance officer, all of whom should reside in India. Under the rules, intermediaries must deploy technology-based measures to identify and promptly remove or disable access to content that exposes individuals' private area, depicts nudity, sexual acts, or impersonation. Rules prescribed the need for additional due diligence for significant social media intermediaries. Significant social media intermediaries providing messaging services must enable the identification of the first originator of the information for specific purposes like national security and addressing serious offences. Rules also prescribes for removal for unlawful information. Intermediaries cannot host or publish information prohibited by law related to the sovereignty and integrity of India, public order, and more, once notified by the appropriate authorities. The new rules also deal with news publishers, OTT platforms, and digital media. Moving on to the rules for OTT platforms. OTT platforms must self-classify content into age-based categories, restrict access of age-inappropriate content by children, and implement an age verification mechanism. All content transmitted or published or exhibited by a publisher of online curated content shall be classified based on nature and type of the content. Online curated content is divided into 5 categories. First, U for content which is appropriate for all, including children. Second, for person of 7 years and above. Third, 13 years and above. Fourth, 16 years and above. And fifth, A, for content which is restricted to adults. The content may be classified based on themes and messages: violence, nudity, sex, language, drug and substance abuse, and horror. Content must prominently display classification ratings and content descriptors to inform users about the nature of the content. Rules also establish an oversight mechanism which is to be formulated by Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to ensure compliance with the rules. These rules represent a significant step in regulating the digital media landscape in India and ensuring responsible content dissemination. Stay tuned for further updates on this developing story. Thank you for joining us on Unwiring Tech.